Hey! Sorry guys, was listening to some music. I'm a vinyl guy, you know how it is. But hey, I've been listening to the Matrix soundtrack and it's got me thinking, Cyberpunk is all about the music. I mean, why else call it Cyberpunk unless you had a little punk music in the genre? And that got me thinking, there's actually a lot of music inside the Cyberpunk tabletop role-playing game. And in fact, I've actually added my own genres into the game for my players to enjoy. And I think, hey, why don't we explore some of the music of Cyberpunk, the tabletop RPG, in both 2020 and Red, and I can also suggest some genres that I like to put in your games as well. Yes, this is my excuse to just talk about my favorite music. How could you tell? Alright. So guys, this did not just come off the top of my head and magically end up in my brain. R.Tal actually just released a DLC called The Rocker Boy Index. This is an upgrade of the original Rocker Boy book. Sorta, kinda. Not really, but you can definitely get the picture. It's the same picture. Done by the same artist. It's really, really cool. Anyway, this is a collection of different bands, artists, genres of cyberpunk music that have been made up for the tabletop role-playing game from both 2020 all the way to Red, which is sick nasty. I just love this. Like, this was a PDF. I just printed it out because I wanted it this bad physically. So, I'm a nerd. This was more of a magazine for rocker boys, explaining what a rocker boy is, brain dancing, giving you the top 10 list, singles, albums, tours, and a whole bunch of other cool stuff, some new gear and everything like that. So, actually, I love both of these. I love both of these a lot. But that got me thinking on what cyberpunk genres of music are there, and what are some that you can actually put into your games, and how does cyberpunk actually represent music in the first place? One of the funny things is, in the original tabletop role-playing game, Cyberpunk 2020, there's actually a lyric sheet for chipping in, if you wanted to actually read the lyrics. We never really knew what it sounded like, and I'm pretty sure some fans out there made their own versions of Johnny Silverhand's chipping in, but we never really had an official one until 2077, where they actually recorded a musical version of the song Chippin' In. But for years, we had the lyrics. We knew what the song was about. And so there's a whole bunch of musical genres and actual bands that are described in the cyberpunk universe, and I always love imagining what they sound like. So actually, let's go over the different types of genres of music that cyberpunk has to offer. The first one is chipwave, and then we have chromatic rock, we got corporate pop, then grind tech, and then tech noise, and I'm missing one. Oh, cyber grunge. As you can tell, these are all along the lines of heavy metal, even though chipwave is actually more like sampling, so using old school video game noises and things like that, things that a lot of hip hop artists do nowadays. And again, cyberpunk may have these genres that are unique to the cyberpunk universe, but they still do have country, hip hop, rock, rap, pop, even corporate shit. Yeah, you still have that. Now, some of the genres I would add are stuff like, hyperpop, or Indian folk metal, or Indigenous EDM, or Electro swing, obviously, cinematic prog. Oh god, I love cinematic prog so much. I'm so bad. Theatrical rock as well. And some of these are, you may be thinking I'm just coming up with off the top of my head, But no, each one of these actually has a band that I associate or listen to in real life. Indian folk metal, that's BloodyWood. Cinematic prog, Deer Hunter, Coheed and Cambrian. Easy. Maybe a little bit of Bear Ghost in there too. Though Bear Ghost was probably more theatrical rock. There's not really much distinguishing the two. I just think that theatrical rock is more like, you know, a musical theater piece that's done with a rock band, versus cinematic rock is actually like creating an entire soundscape and scene, and also it's prog, so, you know, whole thing. Anyway, Indigenous EDM, I forgot the name of this artist, but she does EDM with indigenous music, and it's fucking sick. Hyperpop, I will give you an example of hyperpop here. I'm old, okay? I use vinyls, I print off things on PDFs. Sue me, alright? But all these genres, I think, are great representations of what cyberpunk can offer in music. And it allows players, when they start making things like rocker boys, medias, and other characters that deal with music, or even characters who just dabble in music as a hobby, it gives them a wide variety of things to do, and it gives the GM a wide variety of things to play with, right? Maybe they go to different concerts, open mics, different clubs that let them play, but then maybe not. Give them recording sessions where they have to come up with lyrics and shit. Or maybe even like have them experiment with like music festivals or film festivals that have music festivals in them, or with stuff like cinematic rock and theater rock. I actually, in my games, say that you go to virtual reality spaces so that you can actually see and hear what the music is actually trying to convey. And it's kind of chipped into your brain so your emotions can actually mess with the imagery, like the program and the virtual reality like kind of bounces back and forth between your emotional state and what's been programmed for the music. It's wild. It gives it like everybody a unique feel on like the same song. It's a cool concept I came up with. But yeah, this is all stuff that I think that like Cyberpunk really can play with, and I think you guys could really play with too. And of course, I gotta ask you guys, what genres of music would you put into your games? Made up or real? Would you try to do something a little different with music? And if so, how and why? And also put it in the comments so I can see it. If you want examples of all the genres that I've given, I'll probably put them in the description down below, or just put this back up here somewhere over there and then just like let you look it up. But also, the genres that are made specifically for Cyberpunk, I'm going to put here again and actually have their definitions this time, so that way people don't like get mad at me for not going through each and every one. This was a very quick and dirty video. I just threw it together because I thought it would be fun. But yeah, I hope you guys play some games, run some games, and I hope to see you next time. Peace.